Thunder Bay will likely delay some roadwork projects as the scope of a new north side roundabout expands. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The price tag for Thunder Bay's third roundabout has grown to around $3.7 million.
City project engineer Aaron Ward says the price went up about $1.1 million after it was discovered the area around the Cumberland and Water Street intersection needs a full reconstruction, including new sanitary sewers.
Yeah, on Monday we're bringing a memo to council just to talk about the Cumberland Street reconstruction, which also includes the construction of a new roundabout at Cumberland Street and Water Street. Part of why we have to go to council is that the actual construction bids came in higher than the budget we had available, so we're just seeking council's permission to use some other funds to award this project to the low bidder.
The two projects that could be deferred are both on the south side. Lucy Court and Yonge Street needs new underground water mains and repaving, and Ward is recommending that work be pushed back to 2026. The last roundabout built by the city was in 2021 at the corner of Redwood Avenue and Edward Street. That project was done for around $1 million. The original cost estimate for this new Water Street roundabout was $2.6 million. Ward says the project will now include even more work in the surrounding area, including new green spaces around the intersection.
It's a 5-legged roundabout, so it includes the through legs of Cumberland Street, as well as Water Street, the Marina Park overpass, and a McVicker Street connection as well. So very similar to the roundabout that was built a few years ago at Redwood and Edward Street. But in addition to the roundabout, there's also 4 blocks of Cumberland Street reconstruction. So Cumberland Street all the way to Tupper Street will now be fully reconstructed.
If council awards the contract, Ward says the project will begin in early May and be done by the end of October.
Officials in Oliver Papoonge are considering the future closure of 2 of the municipality's 6 fire stations.
But Mayor Lucy Kloosterhuis says no decisions will be made until the public is consulted. Justin Hardy reports.
Some people are not going to be happy, obviously.
Public meetings are coming up next month to go over and get feedback on the proposed changes to firefighting services in Oliver Papoonge. The municipality has 6 fire halls: the Kekabeka Falls Station on Rupert Street, the Murillo Station on Reuben Drive, the Intola Station on Cusito Road, the Stanley Station on Highway 588, the Roslyn Station on Roslyn Road, and the Slate River Station on Candy Mountain Road. According to Mayor Lucy Kloosterhuis, the plan would see the Intola and Stanley stations gradually shut down. The consultants also suggested closing the current Roslyn Fire Hall and replacing it with a brand new station on the municipal office property on Highway 130.
The consultant had suggested that we close, when we're all finished, that we have 2 halls closed. First would be in Tola, and then a year later we would build a new fire hall in Roslyn, because that one definitely has to be replaced. And then we would look at the Stanley Fire Hall at the closure of that one. So we'd be down to 4 fire halls.
Under the preferred option of the consultants, the long-term plan would be to combine the current fire stations in Stanley and Kekabeka into one new facility. Kloosterhuis says she understands that change can bring concerns, but as a Stanley resident herself, she's not overly worried about the level of service being diminished with fewer fire halls.
Stanley and Kekabeka are only a few minutes apart, so Kekabeka Fire Hall would be protecting our area. And Intola partially would be protected by Murillo, and we would then also get into an agreement with the City of Thunder Bay, if they wish to, we would hope so, to also take care of some of the properties north of 102.
Council hasn't made any final decisions about whether they'll move forward with the plan. For now, they're looking for public input. Open houses are set for May 12th at the Roslyn Community Hall and May 15th at the Murillo Community Hall. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
Tonight, we continue our look at the federal election candidates in the Thunder Bay Superior North riding.
Joy Wakefield is running for the New Democratic Party. Despite being new to federal politics, she believes her legal background and work with the community will help her to be a strong voice for the region. Jessica Clement has this candidate profile.
This is Joy Wakefield's first time running in a federal election. The NDP candidate has worked as a lawyer for 8 years and has been employed by a local tribal council serving various Robinson Superior Treaty communities. She's also acted as Lakehead University's Director of Human Rights and Equity and as a local union executive with Legal Aid Ontario. Wakefield says she wants to be a voice that listens to everyone and have the ability to speak up for the North.
I've seen a lot of the injustices that happen. I've seen a lot of the suffering of people when they don't have access to the services they need, when they don't have access to justice and to fair programs that help support them, when they can't buy groceries, things like that. And so for me, I felt that it was time to step up and step forward.
Wakefield says she has many goals if she's elected to serve the riding in Ottawa, but affordability will be her main priority.
I think one of the most critical issues for people, and certainly what we're hearing at the doorsteps, is that people can't afford things right now. The cost of living is escalating for people, and we need programs and we need funding for people that's going to help bring the cost of living down, that's going to help them afford their groceries, that's going to help them be able to stay in their homes and take care of their families.
Wakefield believes her legal background and her work as a litigator sets her apart from the other candidates in Thunder Bay Superior North, and hopes voters will choose joy at the ballot box.
We need a representative that understands the law. We need a representative that can debate policies in Parliament, and we need someone who can engage with people and communicate with folks on the ground. We're really focused on what everyday Canadians need and the needs of the people on the ground, not the people who are wealthy and can afford everything.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Tomorrow, we'll hear from the Conservative candidate in that riding, Bob Herman. Ontario's Financial Accountability Office is out with a new report on provincial government spending.
It charts the increase over a 30-year span and sheds light on the impact of inflation and population growth. CTV's Siobhan Morris breaks down the numbers.
What they show us is that when you work in factors like population growth, Ontario is spending about 0.5% more per capita now than it was in 1990. Health spending is up big time, about 29% of the budget back then. It's about 41% now. But some of the tangibles in that field are lower. There are fewer long-term care beds when you look at things like population. There are fewer hospital beds too, and the number of doctors has been bouncing around since 1990.
4 sectors experienced spending growth: health, education, justice, and other programs, while 3 sectors experienced spending declines: post-secondary education, children, community and social services, and interest on debt.
If you are on social assistance right now, if you're on Ontario Works or Ontario Disability, chances are you're living in poverty. And this report tells us that things are going from bad to worse. That's very concerning. We should be lifting people up, not making it harder for them to get by.
Right now, the maximum ODSP payment per month is $1,400. During the recent election campaign, all the opposition parties were calling for that rate to be doubled. Progressive Conservatives have tied any increases to the rate of inflation.
That was CTV's Siobhan Morris reporting. Local dignitaries and industry stakeholders joined the Port of Thunder Bay today to celebrate the opening of the shipping season. This year's first ships came a little earlier than usual, and port officials say that's a great sign for the season. The Open of Navigation luncheon not only celebrates the start of another year, but it also allows local officials and community partners to share in the economic success of the port, locally and throughout Canada. According to the year-end stats, the port handled over 10.8 million metric tons of cargo last year. That was the highest total volume of cargo since 1997. Port CEO Chris Heikkinen says this shipping season is already looking like it's going to be another stellar year.
So far things are really on a good track. Obviously it's early in the season, but all indicators are that we're going to have another really good season. That it could follow in line with the volumes we had last year, which were the best that we'd had in over 20 years. So it's looking like the start of a successful shipping season.
The annual Spring Farm Conference is bringing the local agriculture sector together this week.
The Thunder Bay Soil and Crop Improvement Association gives local and regional farmers a chance to network with buyers and suppliers leading up to the spring growing season. Jaden Billick has the story.
The annual farm conference and trade show is being hosted at Fort William Historical Park and was the perfect opportunity for these farmers to share ideas and chat with the over 30 businesses on display. Chair of the Thunder Bay Soil and Crop Association, Andrew Breckfeld, explains what this gathering is all about.
It's a networking opportunity for farmers to enjoy a trade show, see what products are out there for farmers to purchase and services that can be offered, and as well it's a time of learning, sitting through some sessions, learning all about cropping, animal, livestock, finances, you name it, we cover it. So.
The get-together also featured a full day of presentations involving feed hygiene, antibiotics, and practical strategies to enhance farming operations.
Smell her. She's most likely systemic. She's got a temp going through. This is one of when I talked about.
Director of the Thunder Bay Soil and Crop Improvement, Jason Reed, says over the past 18 years or so, the farming conference has always been hosted at the Kakabeka Legion. However, this year, they decided to change venues and hold it at the fort after seeing a large growth in interest.
The biggest drive was that just the space, we needed more. We're getting more and more exhibitors. We've been running somewhere in the mid-20s for exhibitor spaces, and that's about all we can fit in the Legion. It's a beautiful facility they've got here, and it's been working really well so far to have the space to be able to get people in and continue to grow the agriculture industry.
Operations manager at Halfway Motors Turf, Paul Moore, with the local John Deere lawn and garden dealer, is spending his first year at the farm conference and says he's already made some good connections within the community.
It's been great. Everybody's really welcoming. I got to talk to the people from the Murillo Fair, so we're working on doing something together with their lawnmower races coming up. So far it's been a big success for us.
How are the tariffs affecting your business?
So far we are okay. Everything that we have is compliant with the trade agreements that are currently in place. So far we are exempt. It has created a little bit of a tense selling atmosphere. So it is a little different in the marketplace right now than it would have been 6 months ago.
The Spring Farm Conference wraps up on Thursday evening. Jaden Billick, TBT News.
Well, when I think of farming, I think of nice days outside. And today was, not necessarily farming ready, but a very nice day.
Oh, it was a beautiful day. You might have had a few people kind of panicking first thing this morning because there were a few snowflakes. Just a few, but they were in existence. But otherwise, it was a beautiful dry day. And temperatures are not quite seasonal, but almost there. They're heading in the right direction. We had an overnight low of -6 and wind chills around -8, but we did warm up to 4 Celsius. Right now, the target is about 7 or 8, so that's what we're aiming for. We had partly to mostly sunny skies throughout the day, and winds were pretty light. They were kind of shifting around. When they're very light, it's very hard to actually measure the direction they're coming from. But we started out with calm winds, absolutely nothing happening. And then just in the last couple of hours, they started to get a little bit more gusty, up to 28 kilometers per hour. But primarily, they have been from the east over the last 4 hours or so. If we take a look at what has been moving through earlier today, we've got a little bit of rain to the west. Again, don't panic, not yet. So far, it's just been affecting Fort Frances and maybe a little bit into Dryden, but for the most part, it's not bad. 3 Celsius is the current temperature there. We've got 4 in Kenora, and then we jump to 7 in Red Lake, Sioux Lookout, Dryden under mostly sunny skies. A little cooler up towards Pickle Lake and around Armstrong and Greenstone, but loads of sunshine. And the northeastern shores of Lake Superior are sitting a little bit cooler with winds off the lake. It's currently sitting on the freezing mark. Sault Ste. Marie, under partly cloudy skies, is currently sitting at 3. Now, if we take a look at what's going to happen tonight, going to be very similar to last night, a low of -7, although wind chills could feel a little bit cooler than last night. It will feel closer to -12. But clear skies, which certainly bodes well for those who like the sunshine, who like a little bit of melting. But it's not just the clear skies. We've got some definite heat coming our way. And as I said, there's no reason to panic about that system to the west of us in Fort Frances because it's not heading towards Thunder Bay. I'll have more details on that later on in the news hour.
All of this is music to my ears, Fiona. Thank you.
I live to make you happy.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, you managed to do so today, so I appreciate it.